I am a lawyer, for those of you who don't know, and I apologize for that.
As you should.
People say, what kind of a lawyer are you? I always say tall, handsome. A lot of people are self-representing that couldn't, we've had kind of an economic crisis due to the coronavirus. And a lot of people are facing divorce without the means to hire an attorney.
True.
And there are certain aspects of the process that require an attorney, or at least an attorney's mind. And so the question I want to address today is, how do we develop our inner lawyer? How do lawyers think? Because your judge is a lawyer, and somebody that has been educated in a law school, and in a certain sense has that mindset and thinks like a lawyer and solves problems like a lawyer. Mm-hmm. So it's very important for you, if you're going to represent yourself, to find your inner lawyer and express your inner lawyer in your writing, because a lot of things that we submit to family courts are written declarations, and also in your speaking. How do you address the court? What arguments are going to be persuasive to your judge?
A lot of times people are good at writing but not good at speaking, or they're good at speaking but they're not good at writing. I find those two skills don't generally live in the same person at the same level. Usually we're weaker in one of those.
Right. I've gotten better at speaking in my old age, but I wasn't always so good at it.
Right. Yeah. And so you can utilize what the legal world refers to as unbundled services to get help, or you can, obviously there's a lot of paralegal services as well where you can get help with the written part. But some attorneys will do unbundled services where you can get help with the written part or help with the speaking part. Or a lot of times what people do with you is they'll just buy an hour of time, and they'll come in and they'll, make a list of their bullet points for court, or get coached on what to say, how to present it, how to say it,
Right, and I can be very helpful on that, because a lot of times people make the wrong argument. So how do you think like a lawyer? Well, the way I'm trained is when I went to law school, they gave you these big, thick, heavy case books that have appellate decisions in them. And in appellate decisions, the judge is explaining why the court's ruling a certain way. And basically your job as a law student is to read that case and then be able to either defend the court's position or argue against the court's position. And then we have arguments that are based on that. And we have two tools. We have the facts of the case, which is the evidence that's been developed through testimony and through written documents. And then we have the law, which is in the statute books and in the case opinions.
Right.
And we have to take those facts and apply them to the law. So when a client comes in to me for an intake, they want to tell their story. I would say that's almost universal. And I inevitably will stop them and start asking questions. And the questions I'm asking are to elicit certain very specific information, because each part of the law has what we call elements. And so the elements of child support may be ability to pay and timeshare with the children. And so those are the facts that I'm going to want from the client to help them on that particular case.
Right.
And this is how your judge thinks, too. The judge wants to make the right ruling.
Right.
So they are going to decide what the issue is. Okay, so what are the elements here? What do I need to know? And they're going to start asking questions.
Right.
And that's what the attorneys do when they present evidence in the witness stand, is they answer, the attorney asks a question, the client or the witness answers the question.
Right.
And in that way, we don't get out onto these diversions. Now, if you're self-represented, you're not going to be asked questions, but the court may ask you questions, and you're going to basically present a written declaration and a speech. And the mistake that everybody makes is they want to tell their whole story.
Right.
And the court needs you to organize that evidence in a certain form. Generally, I recommend that my self-represented person make 3 points.
Right.
Sometimes, if you really want to go out there, make a 4th point.
Right.
But you make the point. It's kind of like writing an expository paragraph. You make the point, then you present the facts that support that point, and then you summarize the point and then move on. And it's very staccato. You have to just get in, get out.
You don't have a lot of time.
Right.
And if you start with your story, you're going to get about a third of the way through, and the court may stop you.
Right.
And because they don't have the time, especially on just a regular motion that's not a trial, they may not even have the time to listen to everything that you're wanting to say. And then you end up not getting your key points in because you've started with your story.
Or you've caused the court's eyes to glaze over.
Right. They're not listening anymore.
Yeah, they stop listening.
Right.
And they turn to your opponent. What everybody wants to do is tell a story about what a lousy parent the other party is. Okay. And
they do suck, though.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the court's not really interested in that.
Right.
In a strange way. And yes, we are doing a best interest of the child analysis.
Right.
But they're not looking at this couple and trying to figure out who the best parent is.
Right.
So that they can give custody to that parent.
Right, which is what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thinks. If I can prove I'm the better parent, I'll get more time.
Yeah.
No.
It's not true. The standard is actually adequacy. So so what you have to show is basically that you're not a danger to your children.
Right.
And then what the court is looking for is, number one, which one of you supports the other parent's parent-child relationship?
Right.
Now, this particular point gets mangled by most parties.
Right.
It's counterintuitive. In a way, if you attack your opponent too much in a custody motion, you're going to lose because the court is going to conclude that this is not about the child, it's about you.
Yeah, it's about the other parent for you.
Right. So what they're looking for is peaceful communication. They're looking for child-focused concerns. So you may be, the problem, the reason you want custody might be, for example, that dad is emotionally unstable, or maybe he's an alcoholic or something. So you go off on a story about what a drunk he is and what a SOB's been and how he's been abusive and all this stuff. And then the court's eyes glaze over and you get 50-50 custody. So what you should be doing is expressing child-focused concerns. So I support Johnny's relationship with Dad. It's really important that he have a relationship with Dad, but I have these concerns.
Right.
And the number one concern is that Dad drinks when he's with the kid. And when he drinks, he becomes a different person. Now, that's a persuasive argument.
Right.
Because
or mom, either one. Just sometimes people feel we're ganging up on one side or the other, which is not the intent. But
the court wants you to be child-focused,
right.
not him focused.
Right. This isn't about attacking him because he has a drinking issue and saying what a horrible, awful person he is. This is about conveying why the drinking behavior you've observed in the past creates concern for the children.
Right. So you put that set of facts before the court. Your Honor, I'm asking for custody because I'm concerned about the father's drinking. And when he drinks, what I have noticed in the past is it changes his personality. Now, at this point, you may want to give an example. Be brief.
Only one.
You may, or two at the most.
Short,
But and explain to the court how dad's drinking affects the child.
Right. And if you can have dates, times, locations of incidences when you're describing them, that makes them more credible with the court. And that's always a good thing to do.
Fairness is generally not a good argument in family court.
Right.
Everybody acknowledges that nothing that comes out of family court is fair.
Right.
It's not really fair that you should have to pay support when your spouse had an affair.
Right. Or it's not fair that your spouse should not pay their support when they had the affair.
Right. Yeah, whatever
your situation you're in, right?
Yeah.
But, but what you have to do, your main job in this is to educate yourself on the law and to understand what legal arguments you need to make, because most of us, and I say us because I mean lay people like I was, we feel like if we just go in and tell the judge our story, that what we're asking for is reasonable or fair, and that surely the judge will come to the same conclusion and give us what we're asking for. Right. Only that's not what the judge is basing their decision on. The judge is basing their decision on certain facts that if you don't provide, you're not going to get the outcome that you're looking for. And so you have to know what that judge is looking for. So you either need to educate yourself in some fashion, libraries.
The statutes are available for you to read online.
Yes, Google search, law libraries, all those kinds of things.
And there's good books. I mean, the Nolo Press has a couple about self-representation, and of course there'll be my book that's coming out.
Yes. Nolo Press is a big publisher of many different divorce books. I think they have one called How to Do Your Own Divorce in California. Remember, you only have maybe 3 to 5 minutes at most, and you're going to start losing the court's attention and their patience.
Right.
Okay,
so when you present your cases, remember who you're presenting to. You're presenting to somebody like me who uses words like comedy.
And not the funny kind.
And not the funny kind. Yeah. So speak appropriately, write appropriately, use good grammar and proper punctuation. And present your case in a logical way with 3, possibly 4 key points and supporting evidence. You should do just fine. We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands.